Hello friends, welcome back to the sessions. So in these sessions, we will discuss about the most important concept in SAP, system landscape. So the system landscape contains the three set of server. It consists of three server, development, quality, and the production. So system landscape consists of three server, one with development server, another with quality, or we can say testing server, and the third one with production server. So if you recall the previous session, in that we discussed about the set of consultant in SAP. We do have functional, we do have technical, and we do have the basis consultant. So and the as a ABAPer, we do have some set of roles and responsibilities. So very first role is what? We are going to receive the requirement or tickets. So here I can say the roles and responsibilities. So the roles and responsibility as an ABAPer. So what are those? First, we are going to receive. So we do have some set of roles and responsibilities in real time. So very first, we are going to receive the ticket, or we can say bug, or we are going to receive the functional specification document. Mostly from your team lead or sometimes the manager. Thereafter, you are going to analyze the requirement based on business process. Then you are going to estimate the timing, estimate the number of hours you need or required to develop the application. Then after that, you are going to start the development. Once the development has been finished, so I can say start the development. You can say start the development. So once the development has been finished, we are going to perform the unit testing. Means the developed object, either it's working fine or not. That is a part of unit testing. Then we are going to release the object which you have developed to testing server for more testing. Either you can call as a testing or quality server. Anything is fine. So the object which you have developed, that we are going to release to the testing server. or we can say quality server. And thereafter, we are going to prepare the technical specification document. Prepare technical specification document. We can call it as a TSD, or something you can call it as a TD also, technical design. Or some client it will call it as a DS also, design specification. Terminology will be the different, but concept is remain same. So these are the set of roles and responsibility as an ABAPer in real time. So very first is what you are going to receive the ticket or bug or the functional specification document either from TL or manager. Now based on business requirement, you are going to analyze it as per business process and you are going to estimate the timing. Once the all procedure has been done, you are going to start your development. Now, where exactly I need to start the development? So SAP has provided the set of servers. Again, in this R3 architecture also, you can get the set of 3 server. Even in the system landscape also, you'll get the set of 3 servers. So don't confuse. These are the two different things. So system landscape consists of 3 server: development, quality, production. So once you start your development, where I need to start the development, so all the developments will be done in the development server. So whatever the business requirement you have received, based on the business requirement, you need to develop the different objects. What kind of object? Maybe you need to create the table, structure, maybe programs, maybe new screen, maybe some set of business forms. We do have some set of forms, the business document we can say. Like if you purchase something, you will get the confirmation letter. You will sell something, you will get the some acknowledgement copy. You will do the like invoice copy also you need to receive. So such kinds of document we are again going to design within the SAP itself. So we are going to design the different set of object. So all those objects will be developed in the development server. So development server is only responsible for developing the new object based on the business requirement. So once the development has been finished, we are going to release the object to the next server. The next step is what? We are releasing the object to the next server. So here we can see. So we have done with received the requirement, analyzed it, estimated the time. I have started the development. Where did we started the development? In the development server. So once the development has been finished, we are going to perform the unit testing. Again, that to be done in the development server. So once you feel okay as per the requirement, because in that specification, the functional specification which you have received, in that you do have the clearly what should be the input, what should be the output. Sometimes they will provide you the test scenarios also. If I provide this, I should get this. So accordingly, you need to perform the unit testing. So before we hand over something back to someone else, we are going to test it ourselves. Same way. That is a part of unit testing. So once it is done, we are releasing the object to the next server. Now the question is how to release, how to carry that developed object to the next server. So SAP has designed the system very systematically. So the development server is only meant for developing the object. Once the development has been finished, we are moving the object to the next server. Can you see this arrow? The copying the object or moving the object from development to quality. So once the object has been reached it to the quality, now we do have the separate testing consultant which are based out it from the SAP only, not the automation or some Celonis testing you can find in the different tool, not that one. Within the SAP, we do have the functionals are nothing but a testing consultant. Those themselves will test the object, or under that they might have some junior resources, they will test the developed object. And those are the part of testing side, either SAP testing consultant or the functional consultant who has received or gathered the requirement by connecting to the client. The functional owner who has gathered that requirement, he himself going to test the developed object. It doesn't mean that in one go only you are going to develop the object perfectly. It might be or may not be. Suppose while testing, the test cases, the scenario which he has prepared, like if I provide this, this should be the result. If I do this one, this should be. You do have both the scenario, positive test case also. You do have the negative test scenarios also. So all based on that, all he is going to test all the scenario. Sometimes, suppose you do have test scenario 10. In that 9 test scenario has been passed, one has been failed. Means the results are not as expected. In that situation you need to analyze it where within the quality itself, because you do have the proper test scenario in the quality. You are going to test it that, and then you get to realize that, oh, there is some code changes are required. It doesn't mean that you are reversing the object. Reverse of the object will not be possible. Always the object should flow from development to quality, quality to production only. This is the sequence. Reverse of the object will not be possible in real time. Then you can ask me, then how we are going to fix it? See, whenever we are moving the object from one server to another server, the original copy is within the development. We are just copy and pasting the revised version in the next server. We are just taking the one of the copy to the next server. Original copy will be remains there in the development. The original code, the original program or original table which you have created, whatever the object, the original copy will be remains there in the development. Only one copy and paste. Suppose you do have the one file in C drive. You do have the different drives in laptop, C drive, D drive, E drive. So suppose if we do the cut and paste, we are completely moving the object or file from one folder to another. But instead, I want to have that file in both the system, like drive. In that situation, you're going to do the copy paste. Original copy will be remains in the source, and one copy is going to be extended to the destination. That is how it will work. When we release the object from development to quality, original object will be remains there in the development server. One copy will taken to the quality server. Now what happened? The 10th test scenario has been failed out, and you just logged in into the quality server. You just tested it with along with the functional, and you get to realize that, oh, there is some code changes required. Now what you can do, again you will come back to the development server. You will open the same program which you have developed. You are going to fix the code. Again you are transporting it. It again means you are sending it out to the quality. Once you send it out, it will override the existing one. Once again you transport it, again you send it out from development to quality, it will override the existing one. Means the previous version has been removed, the new version has been override the existing one. Now the quality contains the recently changed one. Now again the functional will start from again 1 to 10. It doesn't mean they directly jump to the 10th one. No. Every changes come up with all the test scenarios is going to be repeated. Again, he do the first testing, second test case, third test case up to 10. Now everything is fine. Then we are moving the object to the production for deployment. Now here end user will test the developed object. Here end user will test the developed object. If everything is fine, then he will use that application for the day-to-day business routine. And this deployment always will be done in the off hours. Nothing but suppose your business is running from Monday to Saturday. So Sunday is the off. So no business will be maintained in that servers. On that day only, all the deployment will be done because of your transport, like because of your deployment, existing business should not get hampered. So that's the reason all the deployment will be done on the off hours only, business off, not only your weekends, business offers. So sometimes deployment, during the deployment, you might need to work on the weekends also. So whenever we transport, it will always do the copy paste. So original copy will be remains there in the development system. One copy has been extended to the quality. The same copy has been extended to the production also. It means every object will be sync between the three server. It never be like you do have the different versions in the quality, you do have the different versions in the production, and you do have the, it never be like that. It will be always in sync. That's the reason we do the transportation in this way. Now you can ask me, what if anything goes wrong in the production? Suppose any of the test scenario get failed. It is very rare chance because high level testing will be done in the quality itself with all the aspects. But still, of course, it's a human made. There might be a issue. like 0.01%, I can say. It very rare chance it will not be like that, because high level testing will be done by the functional plus business work together will be done in the quality itself before they accept the changes in the production. But there might be a chances. In that situation, we never going to be fixed within the production. See, only the development server which is in a write mode, code changes will be happen, or any changes will be happen within the development only. Rest two server always in read only. You can read those objects. It is not possible to do any modification. Again, if you find any issue in the production, you can come back to your development, because your original copy is remains within the development system. Do changes, take it to the quality, perform again all the testing from 1 to 10, or a specific scenario which failed in the production server. Do it testing and then move it to the production. Whenever it get fails, reverse of the object will not be possible. Always keep in mind the object, the transportation sequence always should be from development to quality, quality to production. Reverse of the object will not be possible in real time. So this is what the system landscape. Now you can ask me how the object will get transported from one system to another system. That concept we can call as a transport organizer. So SAP has provided the application plus the concept called transport organizer. So transport organizer contains the set of transport request number, which will carry the developed object from one server to another server. Now suppose, and the second thing is like every project contains their own system landscape. Means system landscape always contains the three set of servers only. There will be never a fourth server. No, you will always be having the three set of servers: development, quality, and the production. Now, suppose any new resources has been joined to the project, how he or she will get to know that which one is my development, which one is my quality, which one is my production server. Or suppose you, once you get onboarded to any project, of course you are new to that project. Every project manager is responsible for providing the knowledge, KT transfer we can say, the things, onboarded sessions we can say. What is our project? What are the systems are available? What is our culture? What is our day-to-day routines? All, every knowledge is going to be transferred by your senior lead or your most of the times manager itself. Now, so they are going to name every server. They are going to name every server. So development, they are going to set some name. So if you ask me, my client contains some set of server. So HED, for example, HED is my development system. It will always be three-digit unique number. It will all every system contains the three-digit name. It can be alphabets, it can be alphanumeric also. And always the last character specifies the type of system. If it is ending with D, always it's a development system. And my quality system is HEQ. It can be Q also, sometime it will be T also. And my production system is HEP. It can be any name. And my previous client, like one of my client is having the system landscape OH1 ending with 1. As I say that it can be always alphanumeric. OH2 and the OHP. Something like OHT also, OHQ also. Always three-digit number. So they will give the KT2 like here the HED system is my development, here HEQ is my quality, here HEP is my production system. So you will be having the unique name for every system, and this name is going to be provided by the basis, because this system is going to be set up by the basis only by having the understanding with the client. They will propose and they will and basis is going to be set, and it will be remain same throughout your project. It never be changed. Right now, as we discussed, I want to move the developed object from my development server to quality and from there to the production system. Now, how to move it? So that is going to be done by using the concept called transport request number. So transport request number. So before I proceed with the transport request number, I want to add one more point over here. So once after the development, the testing which we used to perform in the development, we can call it as a unit testing. And then we are going to move or transport the changes to the next server, that is a part of your quality or testing server. There we do have the testing consultant or the functional who is going to test your developed object. And from there we are going to deploy in the production server. When we talk about the consideration, how confident you are with your development, so that is a part of consideration. So for example, when you go for the interview and the interview before he asks you the questions on specific topic or the specific skill, he might have like ask you like how much you can rate yourself out of maybe 5, maybe out of 10. If you are confident at that skill or maybe on the topic which he is about to ask you the questions, of course you are going to rate yourself at the higher side based on your confident level. Similarly, the consideration, I'm talking about the consideration of your output or the result. So I can rate the 10% of testing in the development server. Like the object which I have developed, I can rate 10% of this. Not out of 10, it is out of 100. Why? See, the development is fine, but if you want to get the proper result, the accurate result, you do have the proper test data to test the developed object. But in the development, you don't have the proper test cases or the proper test data. The test data is nothing but the test cases. So that's the reason we can consider the lowest. Why? Because at least you should not get the weird error. That we need to be sure. Of course, if you are not getting the proper result, that is fine, but it should not get the weird result. That's the reason we are considering. Of course, my program is not giving the weird result. It is somehow functioning. But I'm not sure either that results is correct or not. Why? Because you don't have the proper test data. So that's the reason we are moving the changes to the next server for more testing. Here also I'm not giving you the 100%. We give 80 to 90%. Now again, why? See, here we do have the proper test data, but why we are not giving the 100%? Because again, this changes is going to be tested by the our team itself. We are not handing it over to the end user or the business user. Again, here the functional consultant or the testing consultant are going to test the developed object based on the business scenario. It might be chances like the test scenario which you are testing, maybe all the test scenario will get passed. It might be the chances of getting failed. That is a different things that we have already discussed. So suppose all the test scenario has been passed. Now what next? Now maybe the end user, before he accept the changes and get it deployed to the production server, he can test himself in the quality sometimes. And once it is tested, now that is fine. Now we are ready to deploy. Now once we deploy, before we use that changes to the next business day, of course we are making the deployment on the weekend itself. Once we deployed, again we are going to test it. Why? Because see, whatever the changes you have deployed, because of your changes, the existing functionality should not be hampered. That is the things we always make sure that the changes is going to be deployed on the weekend itself. And once we deploy, we are going to test it. And once it is fine with the all the aspects, I can say, then we can say 100% of testing will be considered in the production server. There are two different reasons. Here we do have the proper test data. I can say live data. Now, what is the meaning of live data? For example, if you go to the banking as a customer, banking sector as a customer, you want to deposit some amount, or if you want to withdraw some amount. Of course, you go to the cashier, you are going to fill some slip, you are going to submit that slip to the cashier. He is going to enter some information in the system, and that information is getting saved in the respective database system. That we can call as a live data, means it is having the accurate result and which is a recent data. That's the reason we can call it as a live data. Same data you can find in the quality, but that is a 1 day old data. That might be 1 day old data. Do you know, like whenever the business hours get over, like the suppose the banking sector, your day will start with morning 10 and it's going to be end up at evening by 4:30 or 5. So once your banking that process get completed, they're going to back up the complete data, the data which has processed in a day. That complete data will get back up to the different system for some different reason. Might be suppose there might be a chances of your production system get crashed. In that situation, you should have some backup, right? In your normal personal life also, you're always think about in the backup process. Same way, they are going to take your backup data from production day some to somewhere. So majorly into the quality. So quality always contains a replica of your production system and replica of all the configuration of your production system. So that's the reason higher rating I'm giving towards in the quality, the object which we are testing, 80 to 90% I can say. The reason behind giving the 80 to 90% towards the quality is it contains some older data, not a recent one, live one. Of course, it is a proper test scenario, but it is not a recent one. That's the reason we are giving 80 to 90%. For example, if you go to the interview, if you are confident, your confident level is very high, but still you are not going to give the out of marks. So that is only the reason. Until unless it's going to be accepted by the end user or the business owner, of course, the result which you are getting in the development, same result you are getting in the quality, and the same result you are getting in the production. Only the difference between this consideration is in the development, you don't have the proper test scenarios. In the quality, of course, you do have the proper test scenario, but until unless it's going to be accepted by the end user, we are not going to give the 100% consideration. Once we are going to deploy it in the production and we are going to use that changes to the live business market, then we are going to give the 100% because it has been accepted by the user and it is being used in the live business market. Now, along with this development, quality, and the production, you might come across with one more server in the real time. That server we can call as a sandbox server. And it doesn't mean that you do have the compulsory, like it doesn't mean that the sandbox server is available in all the system or in the all the client side. It is totally optional. Some client might be having this sandbox server or may not be. Now, what is the meaning of this sandbox? What is the use of this sandbox server? We can call it as a sandbox server, and this is specially used for research and development work. Do you know the research and development? If you're working on any development or business scenario, before you give it to the 100%, you need to have some analysis, right? That analysis work mostly will be done in the sandbox server if it is available. If you don't have the sandbox server, directly you can go to the development system. Now, suppose this scenario, if I want to compare with a real time. Now, for example, you might fan of cricket team or cricket match. The cricket can be the international level or it can be at the national level. So the player which you see at the ground, at the field, before they enter into the field, they do have the lot of practice at the ground level, right? For example, the another scenario, suppose if you want to have some stage performance in your college or in your organization level, before you give the performance, you are going to have the multiple rehearsal practice, I can say. Same way. Before, like whenever we receive any requirement, of course, if you go with the roles and responsibility as an ABAPer, first we are going to receive the ticket, then we are going to do the analysis, and then we are going to give the estimation. The analysis and the estimation, it is totally depends upon your research. Like before I want to give the estimations to any object, for that you need to have the proper analysis. Until unless you are going to analyze the object, how you are going to give the estimation? Until unless you are clear about the requirement, it is not possible to give the estimations. So for that analysis, sometimes you need to create the dummy programs as well or dummy objects as well. So that dummy objects will be created in the sandbox. It is something like a practice ground. If you don't have that sandbox, you can directly do it in the development. That's fine. But sandbox is a separate server and that is not going to be included in your system landscape. It is something like quality. It means it is having the proper test data in the sandbox. Sometimes it is having the proper test data, but you can edit. You can do the development, you can do the testing. But the object which you are going to develop in the sandbox cannot be transportable because it is not being linked with any other server. So it is a totally a separate server. So along with the system landscape, that might be a chances you can come across with the sandbox. Now, the third thing, like suppose I'm the beginner, I'm joining any project. Now, is it like do we have the access to all the systems like development, quality, production? Well, you do have the access for the development, or sometimes you do have the access for the quality, but definitely not towards the production system because it is a live system. It is having the data, live data, and the data is very important to the client. So they don't allow you to access the production system because they don't want to do the any mess up with their data. If you're losing the data, then losing the client is losing the business. So that is not going to be happen. But if you're like your like for example, your experience level is higher, not to the beginners level, then definitely they're going to give the access to the production. Like if you're at the 3 plus, 4 plus, if you're confident at the system level, if you're confident you're going to take the responsibilities of each individual object, then they will allow you to go with the production server. But as a beginner level, they will not allow you to go with the production system. But it is totally depends upon the client to client. Suppose if you have joined any startup organization, then they will allow you to do, but always you need to take a support from the senior. By taking the senior in confident, you are going to do the activity. But if you go with the MNC level, of course, their clients are very big and definitely they will not allow you to log into any production system, sometimes not even to the quality. If you're at the definitely at the beginners level, they will not allow. Of course, if you're at the experience level, they will give the authorizations to all. Now let's come back to the transport request number. Transport request number, it is a 10-digit unique number. I can say it is a 10 digit. It will always be a 10 digit only. Unique number which will carry or transport the developed object from one server to another. So what your transport request number will do, it will carry your developed object from one server to another server within a system landscape. Do you know like you do have the cab services? Every city will be having the unique name for their cab services. But if you go with the Uber services, it is a global services you can find in all the countries. So what Uber services will do, he will provide you the cab facility to travel you from source to destination, means one place to another place. So you need to open the app, you need to provide the source place, you need to add the destination, and you need to add the timing. Of course, if you're not selecting the time, it means quickly you are going on the way. So then one set of the vehicle is going to be allocated to you. You will get the details as the vehicle number, the driver details, right? So once that vehicle comes to your doorstep to pick up, then you need to share the OTP. It means you are onboarding the correct one, and then he's going to drop you to the destination. So once that vehicle get assigned to you, the details when pop up to your screen, you will get the vehicle, what kind of vehicle is this, and type of vehicle. It's a sedan car, it's a hatchback, it is a SUV, then you'll get the driver details. The most important is vehicle number. If you go with the city-wise, every vehicle will be having some numbers. Now, if you talk about the India, suppose I'm traveling in Delhi. So Delhi is start with DL and two-digit number, right? DL01, and then followed by something like A0011, something, my vehicle number. So this is also having the 10 to 11. It can be any number. But if we look at this number, what it represents, now if you look at the starting two digit, it will represent the state. And the next two number, it will represent the RTO office located in which area or which district, town wise. Then it is comes with the series, and this is unique number, 4-digit unique number. Suppose your vehicle is starting with, like suppose if you purchase a new vehicle and you get the registration in the road transport organization RTO. So they will open the first series starting with A. It will from 1 to 9999. Once it is ended up with the 9999, it will open the next series B. Again from 1 to 9999. Then C series 1 to 9999. Likewise, same you can compare with the landscape level. Now, before I go with the transport organizer, I want to give you some hint. Like in SAP, if you want to develop any object, you should follow some naming standard, naming convention, we can say. In SAP, if you want to follow If you want to develop any object, you must follow the naming convention as per the SAP. So I can divide this into two parts. One with the object which is already provided by the SAP. Those comes under the predefine. Predefine are those which is already provided by the SAP, and the user defines are those which needs to be developed. Okay. So all the predefined means all the object provided by the SAP, those object name has started except Y or Z. And this must start with, if you are developing your custom object, those object name must start with either Y or Z. This is SAP's rules. Every object must start with Y or Z. Suppose let's assume I have developed the new program as per the business requirement, and we always provide the meaningful name for the object. Suppose I'm developing the program which is related to the employee. So what would be my name? So meaningful name is something like employee underscore report. Am I right? So name could be anything. There is no any restriction, but you should always have the first character either Z or Y. Either it may be Z or Z employee underscore report, or it can be Y employee underscore report. That should be must. And the object which has already provided by the SAP, those object name has started either except Y or Z, means it never be starting with Y or Z. We will clearly get to know that this object has been provided by the SAP. It means it's a standard object. Now suppose you can ask me, what if I want to create those objects except Y or Z if I'm not following that? In that situation, you need the permission from SAP. That's a part of access key, which SAP never going to provide you. Access key required. But if you're following the naming convention, if you're creating the object either by Y or Z, then you're not required any access key. Access key not required. So if you are following the guidelines provided by the SAP, if you're developing object and if you're providing the name to that object starting with Z or Y, of course you don't require any access key. But if you're going against the naming convention given by the SAP, then of course you need the access key, but that is not going to be provided to you. So this is the naming convention. Similarly, of course, once we develop the object, we need to save it. Suppose in your local system, you are developing any Word file, if you're working on any notepad, if you're doing any paint, of course, we need to save that object in a local system. Similarly, once we develop any object in SAP, we also need to save it in a local system. So saving of object, again, there are two ways. Saving of object in SAP, there are two different ways. So one I can say the package. So another one I can say the local object. There are two different way. In two different way you can save the object. So before I proceed, I do have a simple question. Like once after developing the object in development server, do you want to move that changes to the quality, or do you want to transport that changes to the quality? See, there are two scenarios. There might be two different scenarios. As I taken the example of cricket match. Suppose if it is a live match, then you need to be like your performance will be measured. But if like before we go with the live, we are going to do the practice, right? Practice sessions will not be considered. That is for yourself. Same way. Now, object which you are developing, does that object is impacting your business? And once after development, do you want to move your changes or move your development from your development server to quality, from there to production? In that situation, you must save the object in package only. Certain situation, what will happen, whatever the object you are developing, maybe that object is developing only for practice purpose. I want to do some R&D work, and such kinds of practice object never be moved to the production server. That will be keep locally within the development. In that situation, you need to go with the local object. So by saving the object in a package, the object will become the transportable. So by saving the object in package, the object will be transportable. And if you save the object in local, which cannot be transportable, the object cannot be transportable. It will be kept locally within the development system. Now here, as we discussed, I want to transport the developed object from development to quality, from there to production, right? In that situation, where you need to save your object? In package. So as soon as if you save your object in a package, system will generate a 10-digit request number for you. As soon as if you select the package, system will generate the 10-digit request number for you. And that request number something like HED somewhat K 944 211 something. And if you expand this one, you can find one more request under that. That is HED K 212 something. And if you expand this one, you will get the details like what kind of object you are transporting. Either you are transporting any program, either you are transporting any table, either you are transporting any screen, so on. And if you expand this one, you will get to know that what kind of object you are transporting. And what is your object name? That is something like Z employee. As I discussed, I want to create one new program which will reveal the details of your employee. Now, what is the significance behind this number? How means in what, like what is the representation of this? Does it always create with the HDD or it will be a different? Of course, it will be a different in real time. So starting 3 digit will be the ID of your development server. Always starting 3 digit ID of development server. ID of development server. Now, the development system which you are working for, what is the system ID of your development server? Let's assume it's the HED. And of course, always you transport the object from development to quality, quality to production. If you any issue arises in the production, it doesn't mean that we are going to fix it in the production itself. No, you come back to the development, fix it, move it to the quality, from there to production. Always in sync. So where your transport request number is going to be generated, where you are going to do the changes, it's in the development. And what's your development system name? HED. It could be anything in that name, it's going to be generated. So here in our case, it is HED. So it will generate the transport request number in the name of HED. And this K is something like a series. Series. Like as we discussed over here. A is a series, first series. Then after that, B series, C series. Likewise, it could be anything. And the 6 digits are the unique number. Like if you go with the motor vehicle transportation, it always contains a 4 number. After the series, 4 number, 1 2 double nine double nine. Once it is ended up, it will open the B series again 1 2 double nine double nine. Ended up, start with the C series 1 2 double nine double nine. Likewise, here we do have the 6 numbers. Once it is ended with double nine double nine double nine, it will start with the new series and again it will start with 006 5 times 01. Like something like. So this first request we always say it as a main TR, main transport request number. and this we also call it as subtask or sub-TR. Now, what is the significance of this? We will discuss in the example itself. So this is how it will look like. And once you generate the transport request number, all the transport requests will be stored or reside. I can ask me where this transport request number will be stored, where I can see this one, reside, or I can store in the application called transport organizer. This is the application. As I taken the example of Uber, Uber services. So Ola in the India, usually Uber is a global. Wherever you can go, you can find the Uber services. So before you take a service from the Uber, before you book that Ola cab, where those are going to be waiting for you? Not only for you, but in general, where they are going to waiting? They're having some dedicated space, right? So that is what. Once you generate the transport request number, and it will always generate with a unique number, starting with the three digit. The starting three digit will be the ID of your development system. It can be anything. Then if you go with the next time, it will be the different number, starting with HD only. Now suppose once you released and I want to know exactly what was that number, I'm not able to recall, where I can find, then go to the transport organizer. The detail about the transport organizer and the transport request number we will see in another video in detail at the screen level, or we can say that the application level, how we are going to save the object in a transport request number and how we are going to release the transport request from one server to another server, and with that application we can call as a transport organizer. We will see in a separate video in detail. Okay friends, thank you for the session.